Great. Hi, I'm Chris Severs.
I'm Mike Matus.
We're here at First Step Fitness and we're going to demonstrate today some ideas for improving scapular retraction, shoulder rehab, and issues like that. So upper body. This is inspired by a friend of mine, Richard Babcock. His son Richie had a shoulder injury this year. He showed me some of the work he was doing with the FORCEbands to rehab his shoulder, and I said I would send him something that showed some of the other ways you can work with this type of gear with bands to do shoulder rehab. So the first thing we're going to show here, we've got a couple of FORCEbands, and Mike's going to basically do these exercises with me, and then I'll it up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to slip the handles around so that we've got just the strap, and we're going to move our anchor point about shoulder height. Now here, we're just going to do, this is the exercise that the docs have Richie doing. It's basically scapular retraction, right? So the bands are on your shoulders, and then you're just squeezing your shoulders back and round like that. Now the variation I'm going to show you here is bring the bands down onto your upper arms. Bring the straps down onto your upper arms, right? So I talk a lot about distance being resistance. The further away the anchor or the connection point is from your center of gravity, the more resistance you're going to have. Now, you can see here, there's your scapular retraction. You can actually do some circles, right? Now, you see my hands are facing the ground here. If I face my hands towards the anchor point, that is again going to work the shoulders differently. If I slide the straps further down on my arms, what you're going to find is you've got now more resistance and even a bigger range of motion to make those circles and to feel that resistance. But again, it's more resistance. Another approach here is just simply squeezing the shoulder blades together. And if you want to add, this is a really great thoracic spine exercise, right? Squeeze it down. Now squat, right? You can bring your hands down and then bring them up. This is a great exercise for scapula, for thoracic. Now if you point your hands towards the anchor, and there you go, palms up. So you can get, this is one of the exercises I do in my warm-up, and I find it really, really helpful. You feel how that works your thoracic spine, and
excellent.
Nice, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the cool things I'll show you with how you can work your FORCEband here, and in this particular piece, if you have one of these, like if we want to make this handle just a single end, we can do is we just we take the loop, so make yourself a loop. There you go. So pass the loop through the handle, and then pass the handle through the loop. And this is what you end up with, right? You end up with one end of resistance, right? That'll just slide right down there. Yeah, perfect. Beautiful. Now we'll bring this up. Now what the docs, great, perfect. Again, where your anchor is going to affect how the force works. Generally, when we're working this way, we want the anchor at the same height as our hand. But if we were to anchor it low or high, we could change the angle of resistance that we were working with. Now, here's what basically the docs have Rich doing. They had him doing this, right? Classic shoulder, right? And imagine that you had your other shoulder, and then they have him doing, you know, the same thing, obviously, abduction and then adduction. So we see how those two exercises work, and you can work obviously both sides. I'm just showing you how that works both ways. Something I really like to do and I found very useful is taking the strap and putting the strap around my wrist and then doing, first of all these actions without any prehensile connection at all. Changes everything. Now that you're in this position as well, I'll suggest to you a couple of other ideas. Get a little athletic in your stance now, little circles, right? Just little circles, right? And then change that direction. Feel how that is really, it's quite an interesting way. And then you can raise up. Now, once you've got good range of motion, here's another thing you can do. You can come up here. You can, first of all, let's make our anchor a little higher, Mike. All right. With a high anchor now, again, you've got some shoulder issues. And for example, I had a problem where I had a real big problem getting my arm up above my shoulder, and I rehabbed it, again, doing this. So what's cool about this is, look, I can just change my orientation to the anchor, and I can work that from all different angles, right? I can lean into it here, so there's lots of different ways you can see that you can get at that shoulder just by changing your orientation to the anchor. And working it in all different angles. And then if you, for example, if you have a little trouble getting past, you got a bit of a sticking point, you know, you can come up where it's loose, and then you can basically give it a little stretch and let it pull, you know, let it pull you into a slightly better range of motion. Again, one of the big keys is to keep your hand open. Don't be grabbing the handle. So, Rich, there's a few ideas for you. You know, take that little adduction, abduction thing you're doing, undo your hand and get a little more, get your open hand, use your wrist, and definitely work some of these ranges of motion. And again, look, right now I am at 90 degrees to the anchor. If I change my orientation, I can start to work this in all kinds of different angles that are going to work that shoulder all the way through different angles. As you get stronger and stronger, that's what you want to be doing. You want to be working all of that before you get into heavy work. Anyway, listen, thanks so much for watching the video. Mike,
thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, so how do your shoulders feel? What do you...
You know, that's a great warm-up. It's something that even with my athletes and guys that I load a lot with.
Yeah, you would want to get that mobility before you...
Definitely something you overlook, you know. A normal stretch isn't just going to do it. No. You got to make sure you work it in every different range of motion.
Yeah.
And make sure that you're doing this stuff, stabilizing with mobility, so that you have
there you go.
two sides at the same point.
There you go.
For sure.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.